Now at this last section, which is the fifth section, Assassins and Assassinations. And the rules of warfare suggest that there are just and unjust wars, which we looked at essentially some of just war theory when we were looking at Slaughterhouse 5. So the concept of open and closed cities is part of just war theory, basically. And as you have seen, I've now attacked that fairly strongly, and I'm not alone in doing that, that the Dresden firebombing essentially brings the end to what we could call a just war. And it doesn't quite become a total, World War II doesn't quite become a total war, although it has been called a total war. But I don't think so. But there's a huge argument about that. So here, have a look at basically Hartman's unironic discussion of, the strength of a Marine. Okay, here we go.
You people know who Charles Whitman was? None of you dumbasses knows. Private Cowboy.
Sir, he was that guy who shot all those people from that tower in Austin, Texas, sir.
That's affirmative. Charles Whitman killed 12 people from a 28-story observation tower at the University of Texas, from distances of up to 400 yards. Anybody know who Lee Harvey Oswald was? Private Snowball.
Sir, he shot Kennedy, sir.
That's right. And do you know how far away he was?
Sir, it was pretty far from that book suppository building, sir.
All right, knock it off. 250 feet. He was 250 feet away and shooting at a moving target. Oswald got off 3 rounds with an old Italian bolt-action rifle in only 6 seconds and scored 2 hits, including a headshot. Do any of you people know where these individuals learned how to shoot? Private Joker.
Sir, in the Marines, sir!
In the Marines, outstanding. Those individuals showed what one motivated Marine and his rifle can do.
Okay, so here you get, Marine, here we get Hartman, who basically is offering up the Texas Tower Sniper as a model of sort of like, that's a good Marine. That's an amazing, that's a good shooting. And then there's, and so Lee Harvey Oswald, as Hartman says, he got off 2 shots with an old Italian, bolt-action rifle, which is true. I mean, the rifle that Lee Harvey Oswald was supposed to have used, obviously was a whole setup, was a Mannlicher Carcano. This is 1910, I think it was, bolt-action rifle, which, was notoriously a bad rifle. I mean, it didn't aim well. It was not a good gun. And he's supposed to have, gotten a headshot on Kennedy from the occluded window in the book depository. Oh my God! He's like, yeah, no, it was clearly a conspiracy to kill Kennedy. There was clearly more than one gunman involved in the killing of Kennedy, which means that it was a conspiracy, because by definition, if you have 2 people working together to do something, 2 people together is a conspiracy. Anyway. So Hartman here is getting a lot of, but for Hartman, the real point is that who trained them? The Marines. Where did they learn to shoot? And this is the argument that the Marine and a gun become a new thing, a new object. And the question we have to ask is, what is that object? Basically. Now I've been sort of pointing at this, sort of tangentially gesturing towards this all along in this lecture. This is what happens with the door gunner. This is what happens with Gomer Pyle. And now it's Joker's turn. And Joker deals with the assassin. And, let's see how that goes. Okay.
We can't just leave her here.
Hey, asshole. Cowboy's wasted. You're fresh out of friends. I'm running this squad now, and I say we leave the kook for the mother-loving rats.
I'm not trying to run this squad. I'm just saying we can't leave her like this.
If you want to waste her, go on. Waste her.
So we have this long scene where it's clear the Joker knows a lot more than he's been letting on. Although he's a Joker, and although he doesn't seem to take anything seriously, and although everything is ironic to him, he actually knows about the culture. And he knows that she's praying. He knows that this is a local prayer, basically, probably in the animist tradition, because it's not Catholic, obviously. Many of the Vietnamese at this point in the south, especially, had been converted. They're in they're in the South Vietnam, but they're in the very, very northern part of South Vietnam in Hue City, right up near the border, and the demilitarized the DMZ. And so he knows, he's aware, and he's smarter than the rest of them. So what is the right thing to do here? What is the ethical choice here? She's asking to be killed. She says, shoot me. If you're a torturer, presumably, you wouldn't shoot her. Chili says, or not Chili, one of the grunts says, no more boom boom for that baby sandwich, which I'll come back to. But this again comes from dispatches where the women really didn't matter what age. A female person, basically in Vietnam, was sort of considered to be a sexual prize or sexual target. And that's kind of it. So that's kind of it for him. It's like, she's useless for sex. Okay. And this is the point, and we're gonna move to this in the next discussion. But what is the just thing to do, and what is the ethical thing to do? Because they're not necessarily the same. I mean, we would think they would be the same, but not necessarily, because what's ethical may not be considered to be just in the culture. For instance, we may believe in ethical mercy killing, which I do, for instance. But the Crown doesn't. The courts don't. If somebody says, "Will you mercy kill me?" and you do, you'll be put in prison for that, because the justice says, "No, that's not legal." It's like, okay, and you can see why. So, what is the right thing for Joker to do? And I want to suggest that. He assassinates the assassin, right? And this is not quite the end, but this appears to be the end of Joker's story. Anyway, it isn't, actually. But the men seem to feel that he has gone over the line. So everything that they've done up until now has been okay. But now he's beyond them. He's beyond the beyond. He's transgressed, which is fascinating, because that's their definition of transgression, right? Which is arguably the most ethical thing that happens in the film, this mercy killing. So I leave you with this problem, which is, what is it right for Joker to do? And I want to connect, for the next lecture, I want you to think about this as well, the difference or the similarities between Private Gomer Pyle and Animal Mother, because they come from different parts of the film, and they apparently never knew each other, which makes a lot of sense. They wouldn't have. It's very, very unusual for Joker to meet Cowboy. To meet somebody you know in country was very unusual, because the men were distributed all over the country. Okay, so have a look at these last points, and we're on to the next lecture.